third session of lesson number 1, crop production and management, where we have seen various points like agricultural practices, basic practices of crop production, preparation of soil, sowing. These all points we have seen, and we have also seen which equipments are required for these all practices. Now today in this session we are going to begin a new point number 1.5, adding manure and fertilizers. We are on the page number 5. We know that very well. Farmer manually add the manure and fertilizers in his farm to get the better yield, to get the better crop. The substance which are added to the soil in the form of nutrients for the healthy growth of plants are called manure and fertilizers. The substances which are added to the soil in the form of nutrients for the healthy growth of plants are called manure and fertilizers. Means manure plays a very important role for healthy growth of plants. See there on the screen you can see the bhujo. I saw a healthy crop growing in the farm. In the neighboring farm, the plants were weak. Why do some plants grow better than others? Bhuju want to ask you the question. In one farm, there was the crop, they were healthy, and in the neighboring farm, there was the crop, they were the crops, but they were weak. What's the reason behind it? I think we can consider here the reason may be by adding the manure, adding the fertilizer, or there may be the lack of manure or fertilizer. We know that soil supplies mineral nutrients to the crop plants. These nutrients are essential for the growth of plants. In certain areas, farmers grow crop after crop in the same field. The field is never uncultivated or fallow. Imagine what happens to the nutrients. We know that plant or crop, it takes the support or nutrients from the soil. If plant or crop continuously using the nutrients present in the soil, then there is a lack of these nutrients. There is a need of these nutrients, and we know that farmer, they take continuously crops. They do not keep the gap between the two crops, and if they do not keep the gap, then there will be lack of nutrients or absence of the nutrients. Then it will automatically affect on the growth of the plants. Farmer do not keep it uncultivated or fallow, then that crops will not get the nutrients. So continuous cultivation of crops make the soil poor in nutrients. If the continuous use of that particular nutrients, then that soil will be poor in the nutrients. Therefore, farmers have to add manure to the field to replenish. Replenish means to fill up again. Farmers have to add manure to the field to replenish the soil with the nutrients. This process is called manuring. Improper or insufficient manuring result in weak plants. See, as we are taking the continuous crops, we have to add the required nutrients into the soil, and that nutrients can be filled with the help of manures or fertilizers. And if the farmer add the manure in the field to replenish the soil, then that process can be called as the manuring. One more thing I want to tell here. If the process of manuring, means the addition of the manure into the field, is not proper or it is insufficient, then the whatever the plants will grow, they will be weak plants. So manuring is the very important process, and that should be performed properly. Manure is an organic substance where now we are talking about the manure. Manure is the organic substances. Manure is the organic substances obtained from decomposition of plant or animal wastes. Here I would like to describe there is a difference between manure and fertilizer. Now we are talking about manure. What is the manure? It's an organic substance obtained from decomposition of plant or animal wastes. Means plant or animal waste, if it decompose, then whatever organic substance form, that is called the manure. Farmers dump plant and animal waste in pits at open places and allow it to decompose. The decomposition is caused by some microorganisms. The decomposed matter is used as organic manure. See, here they have told the process how the farmer prepared the manure. For this purpose, farmer dump the plant and animal waste in pits at open places and allow it to decompose. Means purposefully plants and animal waste are kept in a dump, in open place for decomposition, and the process of decomposition is completed or performed by the microorganisms, and whatever decomposed matter formed, that decomposed matter is known as organic manure. And about organic manure we have learned already in the class 6 in the process called vermicomposting, where we have seen the process of decomposition is very important for the preparation of organic manure. Now exactly, is it the nutrients or the manure or the fertilizer play an important role in the better production of the crop or to generate the healthy crop? Is it required? To understand it, one activity is given on the page number 6, activity number 1.2. Let me discuss the activity. You can try this activity during this home quarantine or during this period where you are sitting at home. It's possible for you with the help of your parents. You can just complete the activity. Okay, see the activity I will discuss with you on the page number 6, activity 1.2. Take moong or gram seeds and germinate them. Select 3 equal sized seedlings. Take 3 empty glasses or similar vases. Mark them A, B, C. To glass A, add little amount of soil. Mix with a little cow dung manure. In glass B, put the same amount of soil. Mix with a little urea. Take the same amount of soil in glass C without adding anything. You can observe it in the figure 1.3a and also in 1.3b. Now pour the same amount of water in each glass and plant the seedling in them. Keep them in safe place and water them daily. After 7 to 10 days, observe their growth. See, this is very simple activity. You can observe it in the figure 1.3b. We have to take the 3 glasses. Name these glasses as A, B and C. We have to take the seeds for germination. Before that, put a same amount of soil in 3 glasses. Same amount of the soil we have to put in 3 glasses. We have to fill it. Then in glass A we have to put cow dung. We have to mix the cow dung in the soil. In second we have to add urea, and in third we should keep only soil. I'll repeat. In first glass A we have to add cow dung manure. In second glass B we have to add urea. In third glass C we should not add anything, only the soil will be there. We have to put this seedlings or put the seeds for the germination in these 3 glasses, and after 7 to 10 days we have to observe it. One more thing very important, we have to water this regularly and we have to provide them a sufficient sunlight, equal amount of sunlight for these 3 glasses. Okay, now here you can compare and you can prepare your own result also. You can discuss it, how and which result we get. See here, did plants in all the glasses grow at the same pace, same rate? Which glass showed better growth of plants? In which glass was the fastest growth, or was the growth fastest? See here, glass A, which was containing the different part that we talk about the cow dung manure. In glass B we have added urea, and in glass C only soil. Okay, so there will be more growth in glass B and A compared to C. Means there will be growth of plants in glass C also, but that will be in less amount, because glass B and A we have added manure and fertilizer, so they will grow in proper way. See, now let me see what is the fertilizer. Okay, here the term we have added fertilizer. Fertilizers are chemicals which are rich in particular nutrient. Fertilizers are chemicals which are rich in particular nutrient. How are they different from manure? This question can be asked in exam, which are easily given. We are going to talk about it. Distinguish between fertilizer and manure. Fertilizers are different and manures are different. Fertilizers, they are the chemicals and they are rich in particular nutrient. They have given example here. How they are different from manure? Fertilizers are produced in factories. Where the fertilizers are produced? They are produced in the factories. Some examples of fertilizers are, now here the examples of fertilizers are given. Nowadays you know that very well. If they are belonging to the farmer's family, you must know about it. And if you don't belong to the farmer family, talk with your parents or you can search it on internet also. Some examples of fertilizers: urea, ammonium sulfate, superphosphate, potash, NPK, that is nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. These are few examples of fertilizers. The use of fertilizers has helped farmers to get better yield of crops such as wheat, paddy and maize. But excessive use of fertilizers has made the soil less fertile. Fertilizers have also become a source of water pollution. Therefore, in order to maintain the fertility of the soil, we have to substitute fertilizers with organic manure or leave the field uncultivated in between 2 crops. See, as we are talking about the advantages of fertilizer, if we use in a proper amount, it gives the better yield, better product. But if we use it in excess amount, if we use it continuously, its excessive use made the soil infertile. If we use it in excess amount, then it makes the soil infertile. Also, fertilizers are the source of water pollution. Fertilizers can result in the water pollution also, as you know that it mixes with the soil and it can mix with the water, and finally the water pollution can take place. And to decrease the amount of the fertilization, if we don't want the fertilizers in more amount, then we have to keep the gap of 2 years between, or we can say there should be the gap between the 2 crops. We have to keep the gap between 2 crops, means the land should be remain uncultivated. Okay, now how much period required depend on particular crops. There should be gap between 2 crops, means there should be the land remain uncultivated. Land should remain uncultivated between 2 crops, and whatever the period required for this for the uncultivated time that depend on the crops. The use of manure improves the soil texture as well as its water retaining capacity. See, here one thing remain, that is, if you want to reduce the use of fertilizer, we can substitute the fertilizer with the organic manure. We can substitute the regular fertilizers with the organic manure. Now, if you use the organic manure, then see what happens. It improves the soil texture, soil quality, as well as water retaining capacity. Water retaining capacity. Water retaining capacity means what? The capacity of soil to hold the water. That can nicely it can improve. One more thing. If you use the organic manure, it replenishes the soil with the nutrient. The soil will become full of nutrients if we use the organic manure. Another method of replenishing the soil with the nutrients is through crop rotation. See, here in India, mostly maximum amount of the farmer use the traditional method, that they continuously take the same type of the crop. But if you want to replenish the soil with the nutrients, then we have to think about crop rotation. See, this can be done by growing different crops alternately. Means at this year one crop, at next year another crop. If we take it in this way, then we can implement the process named as crop rotation. Earlier farmers in northern India used to grow legumes as fodder in one season and wheat in the next season. This helped in the replenishment of the soil with nitrogen. Farmers are being encouraged to adopt this practice. See, in some part of the India, such as northern India, we can say that the farmers used to grow legumes as a fodder for in one season and wheat in the next season. So what happened due to that? The nitrogen required for the crop plant was replenished. Means whatever nitrogen required, it can be replenished by the process. So crop rotation is very important, and nowadays the farmers, they are encouraged to adopt these practices. In the previous classes, you have learned about rhizobium bacteria. These are present in the nodules of roots of leguminous plant. They fix atmospheric nitrogen. We already discussed in the previous class about the nitrogen fixation. The organism, the microorganism named as rhizobium, plays an important role in the nitrogen fixation. We know that even the nitrogen is available in air in a free state. It cannot be taken as it is by the plant. It should be in the soluble form. Therefore, rhizobium bacteria present at the nodules of the root of the leguminous plant absorb the nitrogen and convert it into the soluble form. So, this bacteria named rhizobium plays a very important role in nitrogen fixation. Okay, see, now we are on the page number 7, where we can see the difference between fertilizers and manure. As I told now only, this is an table where you can get exact idea about the difference between fertilizers and manure. This can be asked in exam. About the fertilizer, first point, fertilizer is man-made or inorganic salt. Fertilizer is the man-made. We know that it made in factory, and it is an inorganic salt. If we compare this point with the manure point, the first point of the manure is a natural substance obtained by decomposition of cattle dung and plant residues. Very important point. Manure is a natural substance. And how it is obtained? It is obtained by decomposition of cattle dung and plant residues. See, second point of the fertilizer. Fertilizer is prepared in factories. As I said, it is prepared in the factories. Manure can be prepared in the fields also. It do not require special factory. Third point of fertilizer. Fertilizer does not provide any humus to the soil. If we add the fertilizer to the soil, it do not provide any quantity, any type of humus to the soil. See the manure. Manure provide a lot of humus to the soil. If we add the manure, due to manure, that soil can get a lot of humus. Let's see. Fertilizer. Fourth point. Fertilizers are very rich in plant nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. If you use the fertilizers are very rich in plant nutrients. Means due to the fertilizer, plant can get the nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. They are also in very rich quantity. More amount of the nutrients are available in fertilizer. See the manure point. Manure is relatively less rich in plant nutrients. Manure is good for the plants, but manure contains less amount of the nutrients compared to the fertilizer. So table 1.1 gives the differences between the fertilizers and manure. Now let me see the advantages of manure. This question can be formed. See, we can frame the question. Give the advantages of manure. Write down the advantages of manure. What are the advantages of manure? Various questions can be prepared, can be asked for the exam. The organic manure is considered better than fertilizers. This is because one more thing here we can do. We can prepare one more question. That question is, give scientific reason the organic manure is considered better than fertilizer. Why the organic manure is better than fertilizer? And the answer is in front of you on your screen. You can see there total 4 points are given. The first point, it enhances the water holding capacity of the soil. If you use the manure, it enhances the water holding capacity of the soil. Second point, if you use the manure, it makes it soil porous, due to which exchange of gases become easy. If you add the manure to the soil become porous, loose, and due to which the exchange of gases becomes easy. Third point, if you use the manure, it increases the number of friendly microbes. Using of manure makes to increase the number of friendly microbes, which plays an important role in increasing the healthy crop. See, fourth point, if you use the manure, it improves the texture of the soil. Soil texture improves due to the use of manure. Okay, so these are the advantages of manure that you can write for the exam. Now let me see the next point, which is very important for the growth of plants, growth of the crops. We are going to begin a new point. Point number 1.6, that is the irrigation. You may have heard this word somewhere, irrigation. See, what is irrigation? All living beings need water to live. Water is important for proper growth and development. Water is absorbed by the plant roots. Along with water, minerals and fertilizers are also absorbed. Plants contain nearly 90% water. Water is essential because germination of seeds does not take place under dry conditions. Nutrients dissolved in water are transported to each part of the plant. Water also protects the crop from both frost and hot air currents. To maintain the moisture of the soil for healthy crop growth, fields have to be watered regularly. See, now whatever I read, the paragraph. In this paragraph, we can understand a very easy content, easy point, that is, water is very essential for plants. How it is essential? Because it is absorbed by the plant roots. Along with the plant roots, means when the Actually, the water is absorbed. Along with water, minerals and fertilizers are also absorbed. About 90% of the plant is filled with the water. Water plays an important role in the germination of seeds also. Germination of seeds do not take place in dry conditions. Not only that, whatever nutrients are there, that nutrients are transported to each part of the plant through water only. Not only this, water also provides various things that are required for the plant. It protects the crop from frost and hot air currents. To maintain the moisture which is required for the healthy crop, water plays an important role. So, we have to water the crop plants regularly if we want a healthy crop. I think you understood now which point we are going to start. Irrigation. Irrigation means the supply of water to crops at regular intervals is called irrigation. I'll repeat. This can be a definition. Define irrigation. See here. I'll repeat. The supply of water to crops at regular intervals. We are providing the water to the crops, okay, at the regular interval. That is known as irrigation. Now, there are many ways of irrigation. Here we are going to talk about them, so few of them. The time and frequency of irrigation means for how much time we have to provide the water, and what is the frequency, means in which way. It varies from crop to crop. Irrigation will be depend on from crop to crop, which crop is there. Soil to soil, which kind of soil is present, depend also on that. And season to season. Irrigation factors depend on crop to crop, changes from crop to crop, changes from soil to soil, and changes from season to season. If this changes, then the irrigation will change. In summer, the frequency of watering is higher. We have to provide more amount of water in the summer season. I think you know the reason behind it. Why is it so? Could it be due to the increased rate of evaporation of water from the soil and the leaves? Yes, definitely. We know that in summer the plant leaves more amount of the water through the process named as transpiration. Also, water get evaporate also more. The rate of evaporation is also more in the summer season. Okay. Yeah, Bhujo just share something. He want to share something with you. I'm very careful this year about watering the plants. Last summer my plants dries up and died. Bhujo want to share his memory with you. He want to say that last year, as he not provided the water to the crop plants, or he was unable to provide the enough water to the crop plant, the many of the plants dried up and died. Yes, you want to share that is in the summer season. So you can understand in summer season the plants will require more amount of the water. Now let me see the sources of irrigation. The source of water for irrigation. The sources of water for irrigation are wells, tube wells, ponds, lakes, rivers, dams, and canals. I'll repeat. The source of irrigation: wells, tube wells, ponds, lakes, rivers, dams, and canals. They are the source of irrigation. Nowadays we are providing the water to the crop plant, but in ancient time the system was different. Now we'll speak about the traditional methods of irrigation. Now we are on the page number 8. Traditional methods of irrigation. The water available in wells, lakes, and canals is lifted up by different methods in different regions for taking it to the field. See the pictures which are shown on the page number 8, where you can get the idea about the traditional methods of lifting the water from the water sources such as wells and lakes, how they were collecting the water, how they were lifting the water to the field where they want to provide. See, cattle or human labor is used in these traditional methods. Cattle or human labor, it was used in the previous methods. So these methods are cheaper but less efficient. Actually, to use this method, it was cheaper but less efficient. The various traditional ways we are going to talk here, but let me know that even if it required less amount of the money and all things, but that was less efficient, not that much active, not superior. So let me talk which traditional methods were used. The first one, which is shown in the figure 1.4a, that is the moat, that is the pulley system, moat pulley system. Second method you can see, that is the chain pump, which is shown in the figure 1.4b. Then third one, Drakely, which is shown in the figure 1.4c. Number 4, Rahat, that is the lever system, figure 1.4 A and D. Actually, the lever system you can see about the Rahat in the figure 1.4D. These were the traditional systems. It was used, which were cheaper but less efficient. Now let me discuss about the modern methods of irrigation. On the page number 9, modern methods of irrigation help us to use water economically. Nowadays we know that whatever the water is available in the canals, in the wells, in the lakes, in the river, that is lifted with the modern system, which is we can say water is used economically. The main method which are used for the irrigation, we are going to talk about it. These main methods are: number 1, sprinkler system, and number 2, drip system. Sprinkler system and drip system. See, what is sprinkler system? You can see it on the page number 9, figure 1.5a, sprinkler system. This system is more useful on the uneven land where sufficient water is not available. This system can be applied where the water is not present in sufficient amount, and we can say also it can be used in uneven land. The perpendicular pipes, now see the structure, the perpendicular pipes having rotating nozzle on the top. You may have seen it in the garden. It have the perpendicular pipes, and at the top it have the rotating nozzle. They are joined to the main pipeline at regular intervals. At a particular places, at the specific distances, these nozzles and perpendicular pipes are fitted. When the water is allowed to flow through the main pipe under pressure with the help of pump, it escapes from rotating nozzle. It gets sprinkled on the crop as if it is raining. When the main supply of water is started, the water comes in under pressure, and due to the pressure the nozzle start rotating and water gets sprinkled on the crop as like it is raining. Means water falls on the crop like rain. So it's a very important and good system known as sprinkler system. Now where it is used? Sprinkler is very useful for lawns, coffee plantation, and several other crops. See where it is used? It is useful for lawns, coffee plantation, and several other crops. You can see it in figure 1.5a. Now we'll see the second modern method of irrigation, that is drip system. In this system, the water falls drop by drop directly near the roots. This is a very beneficial system of irrigation because here water is saved a lot, because how much water required, only that much water is supplied near the roots, so the roots can absorb it. No water is wasted in this drip system. As the drop by drop water falls near the roots, this system is known as drip system. It is the best technique for watering fruit plants, gardens and trees. Where this system is used beneficially for watering fruit plants, for watering gardens, for watering trees. You can see this in figure 1.5b. In the figure you can see very clearly how the drip system is applied and what is the use of that drip system. Water is not wasted at all. It is a boon in regions where availability of water is poor. As I said, this drip system is then very important because this can be used at such a places where water is present in very short amount, or this water can be used very beneficially for the crop plants. So drip system plays an very important role. Okay, so today we have seen the important points. They begin with the adding manure and fertilizers, the role of manure and fertilizers. What is manure? What is the fertilizer? We have seen what is the difference between fertilizers and manure. That also we have seen. What is the advantage of manure? Then we have seen the point irrigation. What is meant by irrigation? The factors affect the irrigation. Then we have seen the sources of irrigation, which involve the traditional method of irrigation, where we have seen which methods were used in ancient time for the irrigation. And we also have seen modern methods of irrigation, which involve the sprinkler system and drip system. Which one is the better and why it is better? We have seen the structure of sprinkler system also and drip system also. And we have seen why the modern methods of irrigations are better compared to the traditional methods of irrigation. Okay, whatever I taught today, just focus on these all points. Frame the questions, prepare the answers, and read the content. Try to understand the basic concepts and be ready for the next session. Okay, whatever the remaining part of this lesson, we are going to see it at the next session. Thank you.